bigvitobrand.com. We are on Twitch right now. This also goes to Anchor every week. And I am Virtue, being joined by the man himself, the former WCW Hardcore Champion, Tag Team Champion. You name it. He wore a dress on SmackDown and got it over in spite of Vince McMahon and WWE Creative. He is Big Vito LaGrasso. What's up, man?
How's everybody tonight? It's the BIGV from the LOG. I hope everybody's having a great night. You know, today was a good day. I'm fresh from the pool, suntan in the gym, living the Florida life. Bada bing, bada boom. What you're gonna do? I'm telling you, it's been a good week. The diet is kicked in. I'm looking good. My skin is good. I'm looking fabulous. You know, I don't even know where there could be some big things coming up for the BIGV. But David, I see that you're a little cold in Cleveland.
Well, you know, it's chilly up here. And in this time of year, I keep my house at about 69, 70 degrees, which in the summer doesn't feel too cool. In the wintertime, it feels chilly because I like walking around the house in PJs, in hoodies, in my beanie with my dog up on my lap. So with that said, I get to sport my King Virtue shirt here.
Yeah,
Are you ready? Yeah. Hey, man, NBA draft. We got to talk about it.
All right, NBA draft, guys. Here we go. I know we got some good stuff.
Before we get to our team, which just desperately needs young players to rebuild, it has been for years. The number one pick went to the Minnesota Timberwolves from Georgia, Anthony Edwards. I didn't follow college basketball that much the last couple of years, but he went number one. The Warriors took James Wiseman. I believe he was from Memphis.
Yes.
And then LaMelo Ball went to the Hornets at number 3, and he wasn't even in college or wherever he was. So any thoughts on the top 3 picks? Usually those are the hot ones. Before we get to a pick you and I had some interest in.
I think that it went accordingly because I think the Warriors really got their man in Wiseman. And Anthony Edwards is probably the most complete player in the draft.
Yeah.
You know, and LaMelo Ball, if he has his head on straight and Michael Jordan gets to him in his head, he can possibly be one of the best point guards of the next 10 years. Now, he's got his father, he's got his brother. You know, kudos to LeVar Ball because with all the smack talk Virtue, and I know you watched it vigorously like I have, right? And he's got 2 sons who were number 1 draft picks in the top 5. So the guy did something right.
Yeah. So where's LeVar or not? That's the dad. Where's the other one playing at? The Pelicans still?
Pelicans, yeah. And he's hooking up with Zion.
Yep.
And the Pelicans, I believe they just signed who did they get? The Pelicans just got a couple of big names.
Well, the Hornets, right, where LaMelo landed, just signed Gordon Hayward.
Yeah, that is a big move. And there was another guard who signed also. Who else went over there?
I was looking at a lot of guys that stayed, like Van Vliet stayed in Toronto. Gosh, I'd have to look it up. I know Rondo went to the Hawks, and that.
You know what? Rondo to the Hawks doesn't make no sense.
Unless that's the max money, the most money he got. Like they gave him more money than anybody else, and he went for money versus championships.
But when you look at it, what do you at this point of Rondo's career? He's 33, 34. And when you saw him play in the playoff, I honestly thought if it wasn't LeBron James getting it, he would have got the MVP.
That's true. I thought he might have went to the Clippers, to be honest with you, but
I think there's a lot of dissension on the Clippers, and I think they were looking to trade Paul George or get rid of Kawhi Leonard because that didn't work out. And with the Lakers picking up the 6th man of the year, Montrezl Harrell,
the guy that was on the Clippers, yes, he's now on the Lakers. Yeah, interesting.
So he's now with the Lakers, and the Lakers retooled. They got Schroeder. They re-signed Pope. They lost Dwight Howard, which I thought was
that's okay though.
Yeah. But you know what? When somebody gives you a chance and you win a chip, don't you think you would show loyalty and stay? You went to the Sixers.
That's true. But I'm like I said, I don't know if they were money chasing at this point. But yeah, you would think that you'd try to keep those teams together as much as you could. But I mean, even those Jordan Bulls teams had a few changes every year.
But I think when you look at the Lakers, they retooled real quick, and they're not done. They're looking to get Marc Gasol.
Yeah.
I think if they put him in the pivot, that I think that, and if they pick up one other guard, I still think they're going to trade Kuzma. What do you think about that?
Probably, yeah, because I think they were a little bit disappointed with him. LeBron seems to like Kuzma's like a guy that wants the ball, and LeBron just likes to have guys that, hey, when I give you the ball, now it's your time. And I don't know if Kuzma's that type of guy that fits with LeBron, so that'll be interesting there.
I would like to see Kuzma go to the Knicks.
So speaking of the Knicks, so let's see, just to get to the Knicks, the Bulls took Patrick Williams. Cavaliers did us a favor because a lot of people in the Cleveland circle thought they were going to take the guy the Knicks took, but they didn't. They took Isaac Okoro. Huh, interesting. That's what the Cavs do.
He was that Okoro guy was on the Knicks radar too, because if he would have fell, Knicks would have grabbed him. You guys got a good pick. They didn't take the kid, the Donnie from Australia. They didn't take the foreign player, the Australian player. I'm sorry. They didn't take him, and you guys were targeting him. Cavaliers were in a catch-22. If we take this one, we don't take this one.
They really wanted Obi Toppin, though, because he probably could be a very good scorer in the NBA. And guess what? He gets to go back home. He was from Dayton for college, but he gets to go back home to Brooklyn, to New York, the Knicks. And, they got a young team there. They didn't really sign any big free agents, so they're clearly building with the draft or trying to. So they got R.J. Barrett now, and they got Obi Toppin. What is your thoughts?
I think the Knicks, they didn't spend crazy. They didn't go and blow their salary cap because they have something in the back of their mind. They're going to pull off a trade. I think that they are going to get rid of Julius Randle. Not that he's a bad player, but they need a point guard. And they need somebody to give direction. They need that extra oomph. I think if they get the extra oomph, I think they'll make the play. The Chris Paul talk was awesome. The Carmelo Ball coming back was awesome. The Van Fleet.
Oh, you mean Carmelo Anthony?
Yeah, Carmelo Anthony, and then Gordon Hayward too. I mean, he was on the Knicks radar, but he signed a hell of a contract.
I think they should trade Julius Randle because that might stunt the growth of Obi Toppin just because they're very similar in what they offer. I think Mike Knox is a lost cause. They should trade him too. So if RJ Barrett and Toppin can become studs, a good free agent in the next year or two, might want to go join them. And then all of a sudden, Knicks might be back to a very solid playoff contender. That's all I'm hoping for.
No, I think you're right. And I think the Knicks are on the right track. They definitely have a good front office where they didn't they didn't take the $40 million and invest it in somebody on a hope and a prayer. You know what I mean?
Yep. Well, that's all. I mean, anything else in sports you want to talk about?
Let's look at football today. We had. I don't know if the Jets have been playing better. I don't know if they won, but
I'm looking right now. They lost by 6.
Yep, but Joe Flacco, I think, had a great game. Okay, and they played the Chargers, and they scored in the 20s. Did they hit 20 points today, didn't they?
28.
28.
Yep.
That's a big thing.
Steelers are 10-0.
Steelers are 10-0. I think they're the favorites for the East.
Browns are 7-3. How about them Browns? That's the best they've done in years.
And who's off the charts and not playing? Odell Beckham Jr. So what does that mean? Next year, see ya. What was the big shocker game today for you?
Ravens lost again, man. Lamar Jackson has lost that mojo. Texans beat the Patriots.
Cam Newton is going to be a second string quarterback next year. Go ahead.
Cowboys won. Dude, the Cowboys, that whole division is still wide open.
I know it is.
And they're like 3-7. 3-7, and I think the Eagles are 3-6-1. So it's a half a game difference.
What about Washington and the Giants? Did they play today?
No, Washington beat the Bengals.
So they got their third win.
I don't think the Giants played.
And the Giants had a bye. So they're all 3 wins.
Yes.
Wow. And
Isn't
they're
that
all
crazy?
in first place.
And the Eagles right now by half a game because they had a tie.
With a tie, right? So
Yeah.
the Eagles lost, and the Eagles have looked like shit. I know my father-in-law get mad, but the Eagles will look like shit, and he knows it. But I'm saying we used to sit and watch together, and we used to say, okay, we got some parts, we got some movement there. But I think since they got rid of Nick Foles, they lost everything. They ain't got nothing going on.
Dude, it's weird season. The Colts have been pretty good this year. They beat the Packers today.
That is a shock. That's a shocker game.
And then the Saints, without Drew Brees, beat the Falcons.
That kid won today, huh?
Yep. Taysom Hill.
Well, how did he do overall? Did he score some points or no?
Let's look. He did not throw for any touchdowns, but he ran for 2. But he did throw 233, no picks.
But the thing is, he is a runner, and they know he's a runner. I think that's why he was in the game. Now, what does that say for Jameis Winston? I think,
and he did not even come into the game. I was seeing if he would come into the game for a few plays. Did not.
I think Jameis Winston, they kept him as a number 2 today, as a just in case something goes wrong.
Yep. I mean, he can throw for a lot of yards, but he throws a lot of picks.
No.
That was pretty much it for the big football scores.
Baseball. What do we got going on in baseball? Did you see Robinson Cano got clipped?
Yeah, that's the only news. That's the only news I paid attention to because it's the off season. But yes, and I think that's not his first time.
This is the second time he got a full year suspension.
Yeah.
Now, there's a guy who was a Hall of Famer. That guy was awesome. He was a Yankee. He had everything going for him. And since he left the Yankees, his career has gone to shitter. He will not make the Hall of Fame. He's got a stain on his record. It is a shame and a disgrace to baseball that he got clipped. I mean, I don't even know what to say.
Let's just move on and just, I don't know, because I'm a Bonds and Clemens fan and Pete Rose, and they all deserve to be in the Hall of Fame.
Now, what does that say for Pete Rose, right?
Yep.
All these guys, the cheaters, they're bringing them back, they're giving them jobs, and Pete Rose is still outside the realm of getting in the Hall of Fame. I think it's bullshit.
Yeah, bring him back, bring him in. I mean, God, all-time hits leader. Come on, people. All right, Vito, you ready for some wrestling topics or what?
I think we covered baseball, basketball, football. We didn't catch the Aaron Riff love story. He's with his girlfriend, and he still hasn't returned our calls, people. So, I know the ratings are down, and he's in love, and Virtue and I get on him every day on Facebook. So, if you ever want to join in and mock Aaron Riff, go ahead.
Please. That's right. It's all those nature pictures, man. I'm telling you.
It's disgusting. And then he sits there with steak, his girlfriend,
fiance.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. We're overstepping. Do you think we'll get the invite to the wedding?
I do.
You're gonna go.
Yeah, I think you'll get an invite too, whether you can make it or not.
You know what? I deserve to be flown in because I put up with a lot of his shit.
Well, we'll work on that. Yeah,
we'll work on it.
Yeah.
I gotta show up. All right, Virtue, it's that time of the show.
WWE lawsuits, man, they usually are relentless, and they would rather pay big legal fees until they win in court, right? You know this.
I know this better than anybody. Go ahead.
They recently settled a lawsuit, which is going to cost them, and this counts legal fees and everything, $39 million because of supposed untruths that they led on to their stockholders to believe about Saudi Arabia business. I don't know the details of it. I just know that they're settling out of court, and it's $39 million, and that's a first. Has Vince McMahon ever settled out of court that you know of? Maybe he has.
Yes, he has.
Okay, but man, it's few and far between. He usually likes to fight.
Now, I'm going to tell you guys something. When it comes to lawsuits in the WWE, there is a hidden trail of lawsuit settlements. So if you remember, Jerry Lawler sued the WWE, and Brock Lesnar sued the WWE, and a whole Jesse the Body Ventura has sued the WWE. And isn't it amazing how things settle out of court and they all come back to work for the WWE? Now, this Saudi thing is so big. Plus, the McMahons are under the gun a little bit, where Andrew Yang is on top of this and looking to do an investigation. You also saw uh, Zelina Vega get fired for being an entrepreneur and a private contractor. And she got told she couldn't have a Twitch. She couldn't have this. She
Yep.
started this. It had nothing to do with, you know, her endeavors with the WWE. It was a private business. So if you're a private contractor, why can't you do this? They don't own
Yeah.
your name. They don't own your face. They don't own your real name. Why can't you do these things? The monopoly is over. Plus, on top of this, guys, follow the political bouncing ball. There is no more juice at the top. Everything is fair game.
So what do you think is going to happen here with other lawsuits? WWE more likely to settle? Is this going to be a precedent? Because, like I said, I know you said Vince McMahon has settled before, but it always seems like those go under the radar, and everything we hear about is every time they win. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
You know, guys, it's the public perception that they want to say this is frivolous, that is frivolous, you know, and that's the standard lawyer's term. I've become very knowledgeable in the past 6 years, and there's a lot of stuff going on I can't talk about. But guys, I have to tell you, there's things happening, there's things coming up, and when you don't have the political juice behind you, and you can't have things in your favor, and it's fair game. That's why you see the settlement and you see these things good because they want them to go away. Public perception of the WWE right now is not very good.
yeah.
Right, David? Am I wrong? You're into the more of the describe and the more of the journalism.
It's not like it used to be. It's
No.
definitely downhill, and the fact that they rely on their stockholders, their shareholders, and they want to keep Saudi Arabia happy, they want to keep Fox and USA Network happy, and their shareholders, and that's exactly what this lawsuit did. Swept everything under the rug, kept business with Saudi Arabia, kept their shareholders happy. Just my quick glance at it. That's
So,
all.
like, how are the? I know you're up on the ratings, and I know you're up on all that stuff. How are the ratings on Fox? Are they down?
They're up a little bit since Roman has been back, but they're drawing about 2.2 to 2.3 million during
Fox.
the last couple of months. But
Raw, that's
is only like 1.7. Like, it's bad.
That's ugly. That is so ugly. 1.7 million
Yeah.
when you used to draw 3 to 5 to 6 million people
Yep.
to watch the WWE on Raw. Sad. Very sad.
Hey, but they have the WWE Network.
That I'm on, and you got 19 pages to watch me for $9.99. Everybody go. Yes, I'm being interrupted. This is for this show?
No, the next show.
I know that. You know, there's a woman here, and she comes by it now and
I know
then,
well.
and she just interrupts me during a show and taping. All right, I don't understand what's going on, but I know what I'm doing here. This is the Big Vito brand, right? Everything you know is Big Vito, Big Vito, Big Vito, Big Vito, right?
Yep.
So, like, don't interrupt the BIGV from the LOG unless I call for you. If I call for a drink, if I call for a snack, if I call for a protein shake, a protein bar, or something, leave me alone while I'm working. Go ahead, Virtue.
Next topic. So on WWE Network, they have this thing called Chronicle. And I just watched the one about Lana. And, you know, you never know how much of it's truthful or a work. But she has some mental health issues, which, you know, I just find it fascinating, you know, according to this WWE Chronicle on the network. And I find it fascinating that, you know, they keep putting her through a table every week, kind of taking, you know, inadvertent jabs at Miro, her husband. But she's playing it off like she's just happy to be there and just loves that she's on TV. And I'm on Team Survivor Series, Team Raw. Mental health. I mean, that's a scary thing. Any thoughts on that with
Guys,
Lana?
I want to tell you something, guys. When you're in the public eye, I've been a professional wrestler and in the entertainment business for 30 years. And the one thing you have to have is tough skin. Okay?
Yep.
When you have everybody around the world saying something about you, and they knock your family, they knock your character, they knock your what, they knock your look. You're too fat, you're too skinny, you're too ugly, your skin sucks, your face sucks, your wrestling sucks, everything. That people are relentless, and you're in the public eye, right? Some people can handle it, some people can't. And is it a mental issue? Yeah. I'm gonna say, fuck yeah, it does get to you because you live because the public is what makes or break you. So for this woman who's very pretty, started off with a bang, her and her husband did a great thing. They had great moments, and then to be ridiculed because of they got married during their gimmick, and then they tried to bust them, and then they tried to separate them. Then they did everything in their power to make them miserable because they didn't live the WWE lifestyle the way they wanted. Now, the husband, Miro, is down at AEW. And what has been happening? Lana has been taking table shot after table shot after table shot, week after week, subtle jabs about her husband and have to eat it. Why? Because you're still putting bread on the table and nobody's going to pay you six figures to do anything in this world other than professional wrestling or the entertainment business. Virtue, am I right or wrong on this?
Yeah. I mean, and the thing is, she is going along with it every week. She's not one of those that says, I refuse to do it and is going home. So she wants to collect the paycheck. And, I mean, you're working with Nia Jax. I mean, I know how this business works when I watch moves. Nia falling back pretty much busts the table, but still, it is kind of making Lana look vulnerable, especially that they've done it 9 times and counting, Vito. And I could see how a lot of people that have worked there have said what their culture is there. They just like to stick it to people. Look at the last Kurt Angle run.
Guys,
And
they've been doing this they've
yeah,
been doing this since the 90s. It is the culture there. When Mr. Perfect came back, when Ric Flair came back, look at all the stuff Ric Flair has done when Charlotte first was breaking in. Ric Flair taking a bump from a woman's slap. This is Ric Flair, the man who fought Vader and Sting and Lex Luger and the Four Horsemen, and they made him a goofball.
that's
Think
WWE, man.
think about it, guys. Kurt Angle being a goofball, right? Jeff Jarrett, when he got the job in the office and he came out, he was out of shape and his stomach was hanging out over his tights. A goofball.
Dude, think about this. If Lana does indeed have these mental health issues, WWE is exploiting it on the network by
Now,
the documentary. And I don't know if that's good or bad, but
now
that.
another thing,
Make a buck.
Paige, who definitely has some issues, she's still on her network. Am I right or wrong?
I haven't been paying attention because if she is still twitching, she's obviously sending a cut to WWE because that's what they wanted. So I don't know any of that detail, but if she is still twitching, WWE's getting a cut off the top because that's part of what Vince McMahon stated.
So what about AJ Styles and the rest of the guys?
They all shut down. Most of them all shut down Twitch because they didn't want to give any back to WWE.
That I think sucks so bad. It is the shittiest thing, you know. And you want to know what's even worse is that Linda McMahon was on, working for President Trump, as the she was on the board for a small business and she had a seat at the White House in state of Connecticut. What does that say about her protecting small businesses and looking out for the wrestlers? Now, wrestlers are private contractors. If you're a private contractor, you're a small business. You're a small business for yourself. You're an entrepreneur. and she did nothing. Nothing.
It's contradictory. I mean, she's, oh, well, I am looking out for a small business. WWE's a small business. Oh, sorry, honey, not anymore.
Not anymore. But
Yeah.
what are you going to do? It stinks. It's terrible. It sucks. But now the tides are turning.
Dude,
I don't know
speaking
what
of business, right? Like,
business.
this is still WWE related. I laughed when I saw this.
Go ahead.
For the Undertaker's 30th anniversary, they're offering 30 cameos. That's that gimmick where the wrestler does a little thing and it sends to the fan, right? Like on the internet. $1,000 a pop. And on top of that, you're gonna love this. So I want I want your thoughts on all this. So on top of those cameos, the WWE was charging $1,000 a pop, and people were buying them. Marks were buying them, and I think they sold out. Undertaker made his TikTok debut. Now, granted, it was his wife Michelle McCool doing a little gimmick with the mask on, and when the lights came on, he just looked over from the corner and shook his head and said something and walked out of the room. But Undertaker is on TikTok. Go.
When you think about this stuff, the persona of the Undertaker, you're trying to keep relevant. All of a sudden, you break character because you're at the end of your career and you want to stay in the public eye and still earn money because the WWE might not be paying you anymore. Shame on you. The Undertaker character is dead. You were the Phenom, the Undertaker, the greatest entrance in WWE history. And now you are doing TikTok and small ads and commercials to get a paycheck. Brother, you have made more money than anybody else probably in the U, and you've been there for 20, maybe 30 years of
30.
service.
30 straight through. Never had a break. I think he was still under a contract even when he wasn't there.
So you've been, and every time you appear at a Saudi show, it's a mill. This is a mill. That's a mill. This, WrestleMania is a mill. And you're sitting there doing ads for ketchup. I'm disappointed because everything you preached to all the guys throughout all the years about being a wrestler, protect your gimmick, protect your persona, and you go and do these TikTok and ads.
Rest in peace. Rest in peace.
I just shake my head.
All right. Do you want to talk about this or not? The AEW bullying accusations.
Yes.
Okay, so this Louis Benson, who worked for AEW as a video producer or something like that. Now, he complained that he was bullied. Now, of course, there's the big AEW fan base there, and they went back, and he had some, racist and just inappropriate tweets and stuff, so maybe he's not necessarily an ethical person himself. Regardless of that, what is your take on this whole thing, of everything of things with Cody Rhodes? And I don't even know where this guy did this guy come from? Doesn't DDP have a company that helps produce this kind of stuff, video stuff and all that?
DDP doesn't have a company. Okay, let's get everything straight here, right?
Yeah.
There are guys who are marks. Marks are marks. They will do anything for free. Okay? They will carry your coffee, sharpen your pencils, do whatever they could to be part of the wrestling business. Do these guys take advantage of these guys? Absolutely, 100%, because I have insider info that says it does happen. They treat these guys like shit. For this kid to come out and say this, especially when marks are bullying the marks. Guys, read my lips. The marks are bullying the marks. There's a guy in there who was a wrestler from Pennsylvania. His name is Dylan Freimeyer. I'm going to DDP yoga. He was over 300 pounds. He's still over 300 pounds, and he could be close to 350. But he works for DDP, and for him to be involved in any kind of scandal about being bullied, I think is hilarious because that's a guy who was bullied pretty much his whole life. And, he used to run a small indie fed in Pennsylvania. Everybody gobbled up because they wanted to be on the show and get a payday, right? But at the end of the day, wouldn't you think he would be sympathetic to guys of his own nature? You're not that big. You're a fucking mark. You go now, and this guy was thrown in on the pay-per-view. Yeah, brother, I'm wrestling on the AEW pay-per-view, brother. Motherfucker, you ain't getting paid. You're a fucking mark and a J-Bo. You work for DDP. You're probably working for fucking nothing right now. And you're a fucking jock-sniffing son of a bitch. I got to say it the way it is. And for you to be involved in any kind of stuff that with those right, I know those guys are being abused. And if Cody Rhodes is abusing these guys and doing these things, shame on you. Because you want to know something, Cody? Maybe not everybody remembers, but I do. You were a kid with fucking trunks on with black hair, and if you weren't Dusty Rhodes' fucking son, you wouldn't have got fucking Shinola. You were in the WWE, and you had fucking 5 or 6 fucking gimmicks, and you couldn't get over, and you blamed the writers. How about blaming yourself? Because if you weren't Dusty's kid, you wouldn't even have a fucking sniff in the fucking business. And because your last name is Rhodes, that's why you're there where you are. You're not that fucking good. It's the fucking truth. Oh, yeah, I took these straps against the fucking, in that match. And I did a moonsault off the fucking top rope. Stupid bumps. You took chair shots to prove that you're fucking tough. You're not that fucking tough either.
Say this, this Louis Benson and all these other people say that they're not great ethical people, okay. So does it make it right to treat them that way too? You just get rid of them if you don't want them there. You don't bully them. So again, this is all hearsay speculation, but a lot of this stuff.
You're right. No. Go ahead. I'm agreeing with you in everything you're saying. Go ahead. Continue because I'm applauding you by saying it. Speak your mind.
So just because, this Louis Benson has bad, people found tweets and he's racist or whatever. If he did get bullied in AEW, does that make it right that he was also bullied? What I'm saying is this is all hearsay and speculation. But for this perfect company, we were all led to believe that's going to give health care, have a great work environment, be this growing, blooming, blossoming wrestling company. It's been a rocky first year because I've heard, there's been some issues. Kylie Ray, granted, she has emotional problems. She left because she also left Impact. I'm just saying it's not necessarily a perfect place to work because of the people involved, but hopefully this all gets, cleaned up and it does become that great place to work, Vito. But I'm telling you, the defenders defend every little thing. Every company has its flaws, right? Every company I've worked for, people have gotten fired, sexual harassment, this or that. It just all of a sudden AEW is never going to have this stuff just because they're a great wrestling company. So I'm just saying, it's just what we're hearing. What one guy's stating what happened.
Yeah, but it's what you're watching too every week.
I can very well believe it.
No, first, wait a minute. Did we have Matt Hardy get knocked out by a stupid bump and they kept the match going? Did we have a chair shot where it kept fucking going with Cody Rhodes?
Matt Hardy. Matt Hardy's been in multiple.
Right. So, and then the thing that irritated me the most was the knocked out wrestler and those fucking marks. I call you marks. And you kept doing your spots. The referee didn't acknowledge it. They didn't stop the match. Tony Khan had his fucking thumb in his ass. Yeah, brother, this is fucking great stuff. Keep it going, guys. Cody Rhodes came out after the fucking match. You're supposed to have protocol for concussions. You did nothing to save that guy. That guy could have died in the ring.
The Sean Spears botched chair shot, which it was gigged. It would have been safe. It just went wrong.
You fucking lying son of a bitch.
Dude, and then so all of that controversy they had, they still did an angle on this past Dynamite where Moxley got knocked out. Nobody saw who did it, but he was not laying out cold, knocked out in the back. That's like a big FU to all the legitimate injuries they actually had. They actually did a kayfabe injury. Dude, they're all over the place. And
we are not going to be the company that signs WWE guys. And what do they have on their roster? WWE guys.
Dude, they banned Hogan. It's just stupid stuff. And yet, don't throw stones in glass houses, Tony Khan.
Let me tell you something. If Brock Lesnar is not under contract and they can get him to come in, do you think that's gonna boost their ratings? You are so fucking right, it will be.
Yeah.
Right? Now, Sting is sitting home. His career and legacy ruined by the WWE for jobbing out. Could he make a comeback and come back to the AEW like he did in TNA and recreate himself? Fuck the last ride and the Undertaker in the last match in the graveyard. The Undertaker exposed himself by doing these fucking commercials. So the Undertaker is no more. Who wants to see the Undertaker fucking doing ads on TikTok? You're ruined. That's it. Forget it. But Sting, not on TikTok. Still the persona. Still can come back. Could you see Sting, dropping in on the Inner Circle and dusting guys and going into a program with Jericho? Absolutely.
Well, Tony Khan throws that money around, make it happen, but bring some legit stars in,
And you want to know one more thing that irritates me? And this is on my mind.
This is our last subject. This tied into what's on Big Vito's mind. Go.
Now, I don't know about you guys. If you ever looked at the writers on WWE, okay? Now, guys, there are writers there who are professional wrestlers, good part of their career. They couldn't get a sniff, a look, a dark match, a contract. And they're all writers for the WWE because you fucking sucked. That's what irritates me more than anything, is that the guys who are writers today couldn't get their foot in the door when it was fucking prominent during the time when I was wrestling, because I made it to every fucking company. But these guys who are sitting behind the scenes and they're making an appearance, oh yeah, brother, I made my WWE appearance. Go fuck yourself, because you're a stooge for Vince McMahon. I'm saying it loudly and proudly. You fucking sucked. You couldn't make it. Look at all the guys who were there. Now, Virtue, do you know of any wrestlers today who are backstage at the WWE who are writers who were wrestlers?
Like prominent, like I know some indie ones that were there, like Jimmy Jacobs. He's pretty big around the Midwest as an indie guy. He was there for a writer for a while.
Never made it to
but never, no. But I mean, I don't know, Road Dogg a little bit. He did it for a little bit, right? I don't know.
Road Dogg was a prominent member of DX.
Yep.
Now, how about some TNA guys? Give me some TNA names.
Devon's working there.
Devon was a WWE guy, exempt.
Gosh, I don't. Jeff Jarrett.
Jeff Jarrett was prominent in WCW and WWE. How about Abyss?
Oh, okay. I was getting to those only TNA guys, but yeah, there you go.
Bring the TNA guys in.
What's his name worked there? I think he still works there. Who was the Indian guy? He was
Sanjay Dutt.
Yeah. Yeah, it's another
Friends
one.
of the Friends hires, right?
Yep.
Adam Pearce, NWA champion. He's a good guy, knowledgeable guy, but he fucking sucked as a wrestler. But he's on TV being fucking, backstage. That's great. You're great as an NWA champion. It wasn't the fucking top dog, but fuck shit, man. You over there fucking being on TV. Congratulations. You made it as a fucking stooge.
Well said, Vito. That's all the ones I could think of right now.
That's all we got to say.
All right. Great show as always, Vito. We're hitting almost the 40-minute mark. That's the longest getting color in quite some time, and it was a blast to do. And hey, we're going to be doing since Noel's off this week for Mr. and Mrs. for Russo's brand, we're going to do a Mr. and Mr. with you and me coming up shortly. So with that said, you can follow Big Vito on Twitter at the Big Vito brand. You can follow me. You can troll with me at NoDQ_Virtue. That's all we got for this week. So for the former WCW Hardcore Champion, Tag Team Champion, and the man who wore a dress like no other and got it over, for Big Vito LaGrasso, I am Virtue. This is the BigVitoBrand.com and Getting Color. We'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.
All right. And